Portugal. There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know.
Oh yes, full of fun facts you need to know. Hola, bon dia, alegria, Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show. Yes, the live stream and the podcast, and of course the Portugal Club, where you can take the European Portuguese 30-day challenge. I'm doing it. This whole family, the team Munson, are having a great time learning Portuguese together every day using that system, as created and reported on actually in the Portugal Resident, as created by Vitor. Well, primarily Maria Malheiro and Vitor Costa of Portugal Door. You can find it at the Portugal Club in our list of courses. It's the primary course, of course. Learn to speak Portuguese, love the culture, and support each other at the Portugal Club. Good morning to you. Wrong shortcut. Let me just go over to this other computer and press a button, which doesn't make me disappear.
Friday.
It's a Friday feeling. I'm a feeling Friday. Woo-hoo. Thank you very much, Phil. Don't forget, of course, you can subscribe to Phil's daily messages, philmycup.com, P-H-I-L, philmycup.com. Great. Thank you, Phil. Love your messages first thing in the morning. Who doesn't? Sarah, lovely to see your greeting. I think you're enjoying seeing us back in a live streaming fashion, and maybe we'll go back to this. I'm hatching a few plans. The functionality of school is growing daily, certainly weekly, and it might be that they're live streaming, their native live streaming to the school platform. That's what we use for the Portugal Club. Will allow live streaming over there and circumvent a few of the challenges we have by live streaming on YouTube. Yes, we might bring some music into the breakfast show. Anyway, got to get started, got to get moving. We have birthday wishes, belated birthday wishes. I want to say a very happy belated birthday, parabéns, to Johnny Cocktail. He, of course, of My Cocktail Mind. We have some great guests this morning, but before we go there, hold on a minute. What's this? Peligroso website. All of us independent website creators have all these challenges. It's like being organic, isn't it? You want to be organic, but it costs millions to become organic. You want to create a great website for people, but you need all these certificates and capabilities to not frighten people when they're trying to find your website, saying, go back. This website is laden with landmines and your personal safety is at risk, even if you just look at it briefly. It's like looking at Medusa. Well, I've gone through and I've clicked on My Cocktail Mind. Because I want to say happy birthday to Johnny. It was his birthday yesterday. My Cocktail Mind, Johnny Cocktail. And he's created an amazing website and a YouTube channel, of course. He and I have made some videos together. He makes great videos in his own right. And I would love it if you would subscribe. And I'm sure he would too, to his experience over there at mycocktailmind.com. Let me put that in the chat so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about. He's on various socials, isn't he? Yeah, there you go. Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube. I imagine the one that really counts with him building his YouTube channel is the YouTube subscription. So please, if you would, give him the little birthday gift of subscribing to his channel. And I'll put the link for doing so, the link to his website. Nothing's happened to me so far by clicking yes, fine. Same with mine. When I was connecting various URLs up to what we do at the Portugal Club, and it's, all this stuff about this hasn't got it's an HTTP, but it's not an HTTPS, and it just makes it sound terrifying. There are many more worse things in the world, I think, than clicking on a website made by a passionate creator like Johnny Cocktail and myself. So there you go. My Cocktail Mind, mycocktailmind.com to find more out about Johnny and what he does and to watch his videos. One of them was made in San Martino de Porto. Those of you who've been to the Storytellers might recognize the Gatsby Bar. And funnily enough, one of his other venues that he went to is also the Gatsby Bar, the one in Setúbal, which Sarah might know. Bon dia to you as well, Sarah. And Mike and Karen, another live stream. Love it. Okay, yeah. I think we're leaning back into the live streaming environment, are we not? Jeremy College will be here soon. With partner, I think forgive me, Rosala, I think she, and then the pair of them anyway. More important than getting their names right, is the fact that they're doing a workshop soon here on the Silver Coast, and I have a very great interest. You may have noticed, if you're a very keen student at the Portugal Club, of what we're providing in terms of courses and directories. We're creating a well-being network and directory of things that are going on around Portugal that were once seen as the kind of alternative, complementary sort of things, mind, body, spirit, but they're all becoming very mainstream now, I would say, and many more people are interested in such things. Where, you know, back in the day, we used to have to go away to a secret location to do aromatherapy and yoga and stuff like that. It's all very normal now, is it not? Right. And so we'll be talking to Rosella and Jeremy in a few minutes' time, I hope. I think one of them in Portugal, one of them in Spain, and they'll be telling us about the upcoming workshop that they're doing. I'm cutting the ribbon at another workshop centre, the Alegria Workshop Centre, that is happening. Actually, I might be able to play. Yes, I'll play that video. Actually, I made a little video about it. I'm going there at 5:30 to cut the ribbon. They very kindly asked me if I'll do that. I'd be delighted to, I said, and so I'll be there later on today. All welcome to see the opening of a new centre, the Alegria Centre, in, well, just in between here, San Martinho de Porto and Caldas de Rainha, in the countryside. A fabulous venue for learning movement, dance, theatre. I think they're putting on a panto, and a great space for yoga workshops and other peaceful retreats over there as well. So that I will play for you as well. See if I can load that up before the coach gets here as well. Coach Turner joining us at 8:20, and then at 8:40, a new guest in a new slot, Eric Bourgault. He is a forerunner, a trailblazer in the world of digital detoxing, and he had quite an influence on me after I'd spoken to him a couple of times in the last couple of months. He created the company, or the movement, I suppose, the idea of DigiPause, which is to, and we are aware of the big irony here, whilst you're watching this on social media and using digital platforms to consume this, the dangers thereof. It's all about balance, isn't it? And we are in the early stages, are we not, of the digital addiction, I suppose. Way of putting it. And he's here at 8:40 to talk to us about that, and to give us a little bit of an insight. You know, I think it's not, it will come as no surprise to anybody to realize that there are some, I hesitate to use the word dangers, but it can just take over our awareness. Our delicate, precious awareness and consciousness can be eaten up by these digital platforms and the very crafty addiction that they create. He's going to help us see that in a new way and help us rid ourselves perhaps of so much dependency on such things. But don't digital detox right now, because we need to speak to Jeremy and Rosella, who are putting on a workshop real soon. Let's bring them onto the screen. Nice big round of applause, and have them on the screen with us here. Ladies first, Rosella and Jeremy. Hola, buen día, tudo bem? Oh, buenos dias.
Good morning.
Hola, buen día. How are you doing? Is everything okay, Rosella? Gosh, she might not be able to hear us there, Jeremy. Do you know what? I'm going to wait until the expression on her face changes to one of victory and pleasure, rather than technological terror, which I think may have been going on there for a moment.
Yes, yeah, Jeremy, I can't hear anything there.
Oh dear. Okay, all right. Keep trying, Rosella. We can hear you. No, we can't. We can see you, but we can't hear you just yet. Just take your time, and when we get a thumbs up from you, we'll bring you onto the screen. In the meantime, Jeremy is going to tell us all about the workshop that you're doing together. Good morning to you, the man with the silver balls. We know him as in here in San Martinho de Porto, Bull Petonk. He's our Petonk Meister. That's going really well, isn't it, Jeremy, here in San Martinho?
Isn't it lovely? Yes, isn't it nice? It's such a nice little community thing going on. It's nice. Sort of two interests in life, Qigong and Petonk. Surprisingly, interestingly, they join together. You can find that same Zen zone to use both of them.
That's so true. I've seen you when you get in the zone. You're very good at the sport, and you've been very kind in sharing your kit and creating a space for people to play Bull Petonk here in San Martinho. So well done on you for that. And of course, before that, you came to the men's shed and talked to us about Qigong. You want to set up a Qigong enterprise here in San Martinho, and I wish you all the best of luck with that. And you're also doing a workshop with Rosella as well. Tell us about that, if you will.
I think Rosella's back online, actually.
Okay, let's see if she can join us now. Hola, bom dia, tudo bem?
Yeah, good morning. Yes, sorry. My audio was not working. I couldn't hear anything.
No, you are with us now, and that's all that matters. And Jeremy was just about to tell us about the workshop you will be running together, right? I think maybe near here in São Martinho de Porto, certainly in Portugal.
That's right. Yes. Alfezerão.
Are you going to be at the Alegria Centre doing it? Is that the venue, or somewhere else? One of our many other wonderful retreat centres that seem to be popping up all over the place.
Oh, I see. No, not the Alegria Centre. No, it's the place, the Tai Chi Centre. Is it called Sophia?
Okay.
We should really know this.
Do you know what? For anyone who is interested, we will find out where it's happening and we will pass that information on. But what's the workshop about?
Rosella, you start.
Okay. So this workshop is an experiential workshop where is like, we could say, are the first steps where people can try and taste and play about going back to themselves. So it's like it doesn't want to be something too deep, too serious, too difficult. It's like first steps, and it's like to open maybe a new point of view of life. Sometimes we just live with autopilot, you say in English, going on like your daily life, and you just go on following your reference system in your mind. But maybe someone can feel that something's not really flowing well, or there is something more, or maybe they want to experience something.
This is a feeling people, I think, are increasingly having, right? It's like, sorry, I interrupted you there. I think we're getting there, aren't we? This connection across Iberia is slowly falling into place. But I totally get the gist of what you're saying, and I think more and more people are experiencing this. Like, maybe there's something not quite right here, or there may be more to life. Is it that sort of vibe? And this is a space, a safe space to explore that.
Yeah,
I think that's exactly it, Carl. Okay. It's also. Oh, actually, by the way, I have just found out where it is, which is always useful.
Excellent.
So it's called Studio. I know, that would be really good, isn't it? It's called Studio Movimento in Alfezerão. And it's just a little Tai Chi studio there. Really nice little place. We have it for the Saturday morning, the 26th of July. That's where our course is going to be.
Okay,
so
brilliant. Right. Tell us more about it as well then. So who should go, and what might they expect to achieve by being with you for the workshop?
Interesting question. I think that anybody who is interested in looking at their journey, shall we say? So that's a big term, journey. What does it actually mean? We have this idea that we're all heading somewhere, but the question is, are you heading somewhere in a conscious way, or a subconscious, or a non-conscious way, let's say?
Yeah, right.
And so I think this is about looking at that and looking at it through different various lenses as well. And so the question is, is it going to be a kind of like a Qigong course? Is it a meditation course? And the answer is kind of yes. It's about, how do you find your way back to yourself? How do you consciously move forward in your life? And so we're going to offer techniques from all sorts of different places, if you like, all sorts of different lineages, and then try and pull them together. So we're hoping to offer people useful tools to help them on their journey. There's no better way to put it than journey. It makes it sound very odd, doesn't it? But it's that kind of like exploration of one's life, I suppose. And basically, because Rosella and I, Rosella and I, our lives, I think, are marked out by doing that. And so it's a kind of, that's just what we're offering to help other people do as well. Does that seem fair, Rosella? Yes.
Well, Rosella, please, yes, definitely answer that. But also, could you tell us what it is you bring as well? Because I've not spoken to you very much. I've had an experiential encounter with Jeremy, with Qigong, but I'm not exactly sure what you're bringing to the workshop and your skills. So tell us a little bit about yourself as well, if you don't mind.
Well, it's more than 20 years that I've been doing studying techniques in the holistic world, and not only. And so I will bring actually what worked the most for me. which is a combination of learning to embody the body, to the body perception. And I find this tool very, very effective to release emotion, release traumas, to release even patterns and beliefs. The body is a beautiful thing, and so we should take care about the body and the energy level at the physical level, and also in this invisible part of consciousness, because consciousness is in the body. So all the work with the body, on perceiving the body, there are also some works that will be like pair work, so 2 people or more people working together, so it's really experiential. And then there will be like kind of a meditation, mindfulness. I'm a Qigong teacher too, so we will be mixing several things. Also in order of the people we will have in front of us, we can make kind of a program, and then depending on what we have in front, we will be adjusting, which tools they really need, where they are, where do they want to go. So let's see.
I love it. I absolutely love this. And my personal view, perhaps, is there's something about these times that we're in, and we've been on this, going back to this idea of a journey. Humanity, industrial, Western culture has really put us in our minds, hasn't it? So there seems to be an incredible relevance for what you're doing, what you're suggesting to people to get back in their bodies. I mean, we're undeniably bodies, right? Well, this is how we do our journey. We're residents in a body. But we've become so in our heads and so mental. And then outside, the world is such an expression of that, isn't it? AI, for example, technology. These are all expressions of the mental person. And I mean that in every sense of the word. And we seem to have forgotten our poor little bodies and our miraculous bodies, as you put it, Rosella. So this is a way of remaking that relationship and connection with our whole selves, if you like, right?
Correct.
Yeah, it's about taking care of the entirety, the totality of what we are, because we, as you said, we tend to live just in the head, and the body just swallow. But actually, when we say we are in the head, our presence, so our essence, is disconnected because we are lost outside. We are totally lost of what we see, or what we think we need to do, and blah 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 blah, and we're not really living ourselves. Who are we?
Yes, right.
You know,
and you mentioned the T word as well, didn't you? Trauma, and as I understand it, the past lives on in our bodies, so we're carrying all that around, aren't we? And on one level, it's like we might see that as anxiety or worry, and challenges, mental problems, and there's a lot of that, isn't it? Within CBT counselling, and a lot of mental approaches to undoing what might have happened in the previous part of the journey. But this sounds more like a physical way of being aware of it and addressing it inside yourself. And ultimately, of course, I'm guessing this isn't a massive sort of navel gazing exercise. This is about being free of that stuff, right? And living a beautiful, embodied, unburdened and joyous life in your body. Is that right, Jeremy?
Correct, absolutely. Couldn't have put it better myself, Carl. Very good. Yeah, that's exactly it. And just to add to the general conversation, I think what we're really hoping for is that this is a starting point for Rosella and I to teach together, to blend together our 2 sets of ideas. But what we're hoping to do is to keep this as a moving program as well, to be able to run this regularly so that people can start their work and continue their work with us as well, perhaps individually or as a group, whatever seems to work. But yeah, that's the general idea, is exactly that, is to really, really look at this journey in depth for each person and see what's required and see how we can help them to move forward.
Wonderful, wonderful. So this is a very brief appearance this morning, because we've got to move on to Coach Turner, who's with us, who'll be looking at the body from a different aspect. He's like our physical coach. We've got Eric joining us, who's like a mental well-being expert from the point of digital detoxing. I just want to ask you one more question and get an answer from both of you, if I may. I think a lot of people will see what you're talking about. It's like, yeah, that would be so good. I am in my head all the bloody time, and it's driving me nuts. I'd love to be in my body more. I'd love to develop this thing everyone's talking about of awareness. And maybe, yes, I would like to be free of some of these aches and pains, which might be sort of trauma related. But I'm terrified of going on a walk. I've never done anything like this in my life. Are they going to turn me into a vegetarian, a vegan?
Yeah.
Are we going to be running through the woods naked? People have these questions and worries, don't they? So, ladies first. Is it going to be an easygoing and accessible workshop where people don't need to be terrified?
No, absolutely no. No.
sorry to ask that, but I think that is a present thing for people. The fear of the unknown, if you like. We don't know what it's going to be like.
Well, it's something very soft and gentle. The first thing is to respect ourselves, and so the first thing is respecting where the person is and see which steps the person is ready to do. So it's not forcing anything at all. That's really the first thing. It's totally about not judgment and acceptance, and go step by step. And if I can say, many workshop I've done in courses about these deep things, there were a lot of, we can say, people with a certain age, maybe not too young, and I can see what you say. Yes. But actually, if you lead the workshop, the space, you keep the space really gentle and soft and respectful.
Yes,
there's really no forcing anything.
That's great to hear. Thank you very much. Jeremy, what might you add to that about people's concerns, not knowing what they're letting themselves in for, but being utterly attracted to that idea of freedom, for the rest of their journey? And it might be, foreigners. We're talking about a journey within the journey, the new journey in Portugal, and the new way of seeing and being their life as well. So how would you respond to that, Jeremy?
In order to teach this workshop, I will have to put my vegetarianism to one side and stop running naked in the woods, just to come to the course. But I will be stepping that aside, I promise.
Thank you for that, George.
It's interesting because I had the most conservative life available to a middle-aged man. And going on workshops for me was utterly terrifying, and actually what I realized is that it's scary to unburden your soul in front of other people. But the second you get, the hang of it, if you like, it instantly becomes a real release for people. And so the thing about it is, as Rosella says, a soft, caring space is all that's required, and that's what we're setting up. We're just opening up a little room to allow a few people to sit together and to enjoy each other's company. Nothing more than that. We're not going to be requiring you to do anything crazy, weird. You keep all of your clothes on. It's going to be very, very consensual. So don't worry, it's not a scary place, I promise.
I'm so glad to hear that. And Jackie's here as well. Bon dia, Gumpers. And I wish you all the best with it. Alfezaran, of course, home of the great Atelier de Dos, sweet workshop, the Pal de Lo, and now life-changing, life-enhancing workshops with you both as well, Rosella and Jeremy. Thank you so much for being here, and all the best with that. And come back again. We want to hear more from you and see how this whole thing is going to grow and help people here in Portugal. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much.
Ciao, ciao. Okay, and we'll keep that applause going and bring the coach on now. Coach Ian Turner. There he is.
Bon dia.
Now, you were going to go on the workshop, but when you were advised that it wasn't going to be naked, you're cancelling now. I think
I am.
There's a difference. How are you, Coach?
But well, that's probably to the benefit of others.
Very thoughtful, very thoughtful. Turer, ¿cómo está? How are you doing? How's it going in the UK? You've had better weather than us. How's it going there?
Hot. It's very humid. We had a bit of rain yesterday, a tiny bit, and all that did was made it feel so close. I ended up training indoors rather than outdoors because it was actually slightly cooler and didn't feel quite so clammy. So it's we shouldn't complain.
Who was expecting that, though? Who was expecting that? We're having a very strange summer here. I mean, it's not unpleasant, but it's quite unexpected. And there are fewer swims this year. I'm not going to the sea to get out of the searing heat. I'm having to brace myself to go into the water, which is very refreshing. But we haven't had the heat that I moved here for, I've got to say, so far.
Well, I think we have. And it's due to be hot today, but we're due thunderstorms all weekend, I think, and rainy next week, which the garden would be very happy to receive.
Yes, and perhaps change the course or the ghost of 76, where everything got singed and dried out in that summer, which you and I both remember.
I mean, someone was saying it's been hotter for longer than 76, so I don't know.
Is that right? Well, that's amazing.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Yes, your fans are glad to see you this morning, and I don't know how much of the previous interview you heard there, but a life-changing opportunity, which of course is what you're known for as a coach in athletics. Because it's interesting, isn't it? I think how these things work on different levels. When you seem to be coaching a young person on how to be, their athletic prowess. But it would appear with many, it becomes a whole process of personal growth as well. It's hard to separate these things, I think.
It is. It depends on their background as well. We were talking about trauma a few minutes ago. And many of the athletes I've coached over the years come from single families. So they've lost half of their parents, whichever way round. I mean, it's generally one way round, but so they have hidden away, these they're subconscious in almost all cases. So providing a safe space, a safe environment with, I guess I'd like to think of myself as some sort of mentor or role model, or providing kind of that stability, albeit through sport, is it is life-changing. I've seen it. I've seen it in some of the athletes we've had over the years.
Amazing.
It's interesting because we do a lot because I work with my friend John, and we do a lot less coaching now. But the 3 girls that we have at the moment have all kind of gone away. They've done uni, they've done other things, and they've come back, and that's very satisfying too.
Yeah, I bet.
They've become really lovely young ladies, finding their way in life, working. One's still at uni, and they're going to be successful. But with the younger ones, I think there was only one out of about 30 that didn't go off to college, uni, and begin to expand. And I don't think they'd have done that had they not had kind of this experience, this discipline that came from learning to be an athlete. It gives you something different. And it was interesting talking about how the mind links with the body. And I think learning about what your body can do and how you can push it is also, is as much a mental thing as anything else.
Of course. Yeah.
And of course, in sport, to be excellent requires that, not so much that.
Yeah.
So the last probably 5% is purely between the ears.
Yeah. As it probably is with most things, I think we're beginning to realize, right? And that hasn't always been so obvious, but I think that we're finding more and more ways to find that out, and the whole thing about mindfulness seems to be the common link, doesn't it? There's all the different activities and different approaches to becoming better or excellent, and the last 5%, as you put it, is very key to that. And that can be in parenting, it can be in athletics, it can be at work. It's incredible, and it's wonderful that there are so many ways to develop that 5%, if you like, or to become more mindful and aware. And we're also you use the word discipline. It's incredible what happens when people focus on something, and then all of these other gifts become apparent from that weren't the immediate connection or attraction. You thought you were learning to run faster, but you learned lots of other things at the same time. And if people do the God Squad course that you've created here, this is Gentle Fitness. In case anybody didn't know, Gentle Fitness for the bon viveurs here, a course that Coach Turner's created. It's also the same for the one above it, though, learning to speak Portuguese. All of this comes into play, doesn't it? All of your limiting beliefs, the discipline that you need to have something to happen. There is, whilst they appear to be different, what could be more different than learning Portuguese or becoming physically fitter? But the same sort of undercurrents and challenges are embedded in there or baked in, aren't they?
They are. I guess just thinking about that for a moment, you need to allocate regular time to it. It needs to become a habit, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That's the thing, and I think I've talked about it loads of times. Just doing something and making it become a habit, just going out for a walk, or walking to the coffee shop, as Leslie and I will be doing in a little while.
Yes.
Just doing that every day.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm going to change the subject slightly. I follow a particular physio online. He puts up a YouTube channel, and he specialises in the over 50s. So I think we both qualify, mate.
Only just, but yeah.
And he's the only one I've found out of all the thousands of various channels that pop up, particularly when you show an interest in something, that is down to earth, realistic, not trying to sell anything apart from his book now. And he gives very good advice that I broadly agree with. And he sort of started to encourage people to build this habit. It sounds very familiar, doesn't it? But he's now saying, that he's got a 30-day plan, and you walk every day, walk for half an hour, and then do some resistance training for half an hour every day for 30 days, and you will revolutionise your fitness and health. I don't think you need to do it for that long, but if you're trying to change something radically, then you probably do. So it's interesting that he, resistance training, i.e. strength training, he's broadly along the line, but he hasn't mentioned doing things quickly yet.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's where my difference comes in. Of course, I'm not trying to sell anything. I know.
No. We haven't had the call from Hollywood or a big publisher as yet, have we? But let's see what happens with that. What can you give us his name and the name of the book again?
I don't know the name of the book. His name is Will Harlow.
Will Harlow.
And he runs or is part of a physiotherapy practice in Farnham in the UK. Yeah. So he's just I think he's excellent. He's probably the best I've come across.
Very good. Okay.
And I'm no physio, but at least I understand a fair bit about it. And his advice, I think, is always sound, always aimed at the older adult,
right?
Because that's his speciality. And he's a young man, and he obviously does lots of sport and stuff, so he's super fit. But he explains everything very clearly, and indeed, he takes into account what people can and can't do. So there's always a fair number of caveats before he starts, because you have to.
Yeah, and he's chosen a great niche. I'm looking at what's certainly one of his books here, Thriving Beyond 50, 111 natural strategies to restore your mobility, avoid surgery, and stay off pain pills for good. That's a well thought out title, isn't it? And he's definitely on the same wavelength as us for sure, isn't he?
I'm not sure he encourages drinking and eating too much, but but he does talk about balance. So
you only do that in moderation, I think, or in fact, it's the same principle, isn't it, of speed, strength, and stamina when it comes to drinking wine.
Good night out.
Get it done quickly, but go in or go hard or go home. Right?
Yeah, at least we don't have the time bell to meet.
No, absolutely.
We'll have to get 3 more in.
Yeah, that's the speed part. Well, a very interesting takeaway this morning in chatting with you. I think, yeah, you hit the nail on the head when you talked about discipline and making the time. Many of us make the time to regularly say, I should be doing more of X, Y, or Z.
Yeah,
and we know it.
I do that lots,
and that's a terrible habit, but it's very human as well. And the next step, I think, is to actually really create that space in the diary to make the habit, right? And we're finding that our latest experiment in learning Portuguese here as a family is at a certain time and all together, whether you feel like it or not. And the great result that I'm sure you'll be very proud of us to hear is, one of the kids saying, "Can we do more of that?" You've
Brilliant.
kind of hit a groove, then, don't you? Like, okay, this is sinking in. The benefit is becoming greater than the perceived pain, and that's the point you want to get to, right?
Indeed, doing something with other people, of course,
Yeah.
is helpful, because you roll out of bed and think, oh my god, I don't want to do this. Oh,
what is that? The day is that face the day?
But my mate's going to be at the front door in 10 minutes, so I better get up.
Exactly. Yeah, that's right. And
it does help.
Yeah.
And indeed, we probably wouldn't walk nearly as much as we do if we didn't wander down to the coffee shop.
Yeah, right.
And that's a joyous habit to have.
Yes. Yeah.
we're their best customers by miles.
Yes, that's what. When you the usual out on your fitness regime, are you? Excellent.
Yeah. We don't even need to ask. We just walk in and sit down. The coffee arrives in front of us. So
well, do go and enjoy that today. And thank you for your gentle reminder there. When it comes to gentle fitness for bon viveurs, is to get a little bit of discipline. And we know that can be that may be a theme of this morning, actually, because I'm sure Eric Bourgault, who's with us in just a moment, will be approaching discipline from his unique angle as well. But a nice reminder there, Ian, our coach here with the Gentle Fitness for Bon Viveurs program, which you can find at the Portugal Club, is to make the time and keep at it and eventually feel the benefit, and it'll all be worthwhile, right? So last word to you, coach.
Just get out and do it.
Yeah, all right.
On a day, well, I don't know what it's like, the weather's like with you. It's overcast here, but very warm. But it's better to be outside than inside.
Yes.
So, just go out, have a wander.
All right. Well, Mike is asking where the program can be found. That's the Portugal Club. Now, many of you are members over at the Portugal Club, and I think many of you do not realize the incredible cornucopia or abundance of offers and support that's available over there. If you look at your screen now, if you go over there, click Classroom at the Portugal Club. Top left is what we've just launched, and I'm very, very pleased to have been able to include this in what we do. This is the 30-day European Portuguese for Beginners challenge, which we are into week 2 of right now. My kids are in week 1, and they're enjoying themselves, as I said. Lots of other information about living your best life and resources for your life in Portugal. And there it is, Mike, the God Squad Gentle Fitness program below the language program. And this is something that has been created beautifully by the man you see on the screen here. And if you do it, I'll revisit it again, Mike, if you want to do that, mate. And as you said, right, and if a few of us get into that and do it together, that's really helpful, isn't it? The mutual support.
Yeah. Just being part of it.
Yeah. Okay. So let us know, Mike, if you want a buddy on that. I'll go through it again with you and improve my stamina, fitness, strength levels as well, and a bit of speed as well. When I say a bit of speed, don't get the wrong idea.
just before we pack up, Carl.
Yeah. Yes.
No, that's not part of the equation. Just the other thing the speed thing does, I was thinking about it this morning because I'm sad like that. The other thing the speed thing does is it helps your reactions.
Yes.
So if one of the worst things as you get older is falling over, breaking something. Yes. So if your reactions are better, you don't fall over so much. In fact, with a bit of luck, you don't fall over at all. So being able to move quickly, it really helps that you know, when you inevitably trip over a curve, you don't go flat on your face. You hopefully put your foot out in time to stop you falling over. So it all helps.
Yes, or if you've been doing a bit of qigong, you go into a beautifully executed roll and end up back on your feet, and you haven't spilt a drop of your pint. So there it is. There's the program. I've put the
If
link.
you can hold the pint, that's excellent.
I've done it. I've done it with a pint and a kebab. You know, unspilt.
Brilliant.
All right. Thank you, Ian. Have a great weekend. Bon fin semana to you. I think we're going to pick up and run with a few of these things as we speak to Eric now. So all the best to you. Thank you very much for being here.
Good to see you.
As well. Okay, let's keep the applause going and bring Eric onto the screen. Hola, bom dia, tudo bem?
Hey, hello, Carl. How are you doing today?
Very good, thank you. And as I said, there are a few themes emerging here that I'm sure are going to come into my conversation with you. I've had a couple of very inspiring and interesting conversations with you in the last couple of months, Eric, and it's lovely to see you on the in and on the morning show environment as well. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. I just did my workout outside, so I'm putting in practice what Coach Ian is saying, getting out.
Well, can I be nosy and ask you what your physical routine is before we get into the inner workings of your mind and how we might talk about others' minds and how much they're investing in social media and the digital world?
Yeah, well, I think it will take a few minutes. So for now, I would just say that when I wake up, I make the commitment to take care of my well-being. So before I start my day doing my thing, scrolling is part of it, whether we like it or not. The idea really is to invest on my well-being, one digital pause at a time. And I mean, I say it in a way that for me, it's relevant. For others, it might be a bit of a challenge. But now that I'm into this routine, I don't even have to force it. I go out and then I use all of what I've learned, all the techniques that I've learned over the years. You mentioned Qigong, it's one of them. Tai Chi, and of course, all together with laughter yoga. And we'll touch on it in a moment because there's a lot of paradox up in the air. And one of them is me, like, why am I doing the work that I do? Why am I using tools like laughter? And why I believe that it is by far the best tool that we can use to get out of this mess that we created from this beautiful yet very limited digital age. And again, this is something I can touch on a little bit later.
Wow, but excellent. Lovely to hear that you've got a routine for yourself there, and then that's how you tend to start most of your days. Is to get into your body, perhaps before you get into your mind.
I would say this: I start my day with a routine, but along the way until I go to sleep, there's always times where I switch off. So I'm using my medicine, the pause, to really engage with others, engage with any activities that we do on a daily basis. You know, having lunch, going for a walk. So instead of catching up on the time I don't have to scroll more, which is a waste on its own, I really invest in my well-being, not just physically, but also mentally. And I think it makes a huge difference at the end.
I think you're right.
That's the only way, is what I have to say, because I don't like to sound like a book of recipe. I hate it. But it's like, put it to the test, you'll see. It's all about common sense. But to me, it's something that we lost along the way. My job is just to put in practice what I preach so I can be a living example that it works. I'm about to be 52. I don't feel like it.
No, and you don't look like it either. Amazing, and there is definitely a theme this morning, and I'd love to hear your particular sort of angle on it. And that is making the time. You know, taking the time to do what you know in your heart is going to be right and beneficial for you. And I don't know if there's anything, like Coach just concluded by saying just do it. Basically, the Nike strap line. There's nothing else to it but to do it in a way. But maybe we can come back to that and how you encourage people. What I want to say and what I want to share with everybody this morning who hasn't met you yet, because we've spoken in the evening and we've got the recordings on our YouTube channel, and you're new to the morning environment, and this will be a regular slot for you. And loosely speaking, it is going to be about the DigiPause, digital detoxing. And you're an incredible person, because we spoke a couple of times, and I know I should have done my research before we spoke, but as I was writing up and putting some sleeve notes together, your contribution to the whole digital detox idea is pretty amazing. You know, you've done things in Canada, in India, you've spearheaded, you've been at the cutting edge of this for some time, and now it sounds like you've gone into your own particular niche and variation of it, which is DigiPause. But could you backtrack a little bit and tell us how you got into the whole idea of digital detoxing and what part you've played in that?
Well, yeah, you know, everything happens by accident. I was not meant to be leading this kind of so-called movement because it's a very underground movement. It's only because I was looking for a solution, Carl. You know, let's put it this way. It was back in 2008, way before social media and the smartphone and so, and yet I was addicted to a screen. And what started to be a television that would keep me busy, or I don't know, keep me busy, entertained back in the days, became a tool I was using to compensate what I couldn't find elsewhere. To a point where I crashed, you know, and I crashed mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, all together.
Yeah.
And even though I was working really hard to find a solution, because my want was not to lose my comfort. I worked my way to gain a certain comfort. I was doing really good work-wise, and yet I was not happy. And I was very, very hooked to the feeling that the screen would provide me. So long story short, I decided it was time for me to move on, and I did. And I spent years traveling on a bicycle, some places that you describe about, always with the same intention in mind, to find a solution to break free from an addiction that was not recognized by the medical system, not recognized by anyone that could talk about addiction or mental health back in the days.
Yeah.
What I found is this. I found that, gosh, you don't have to look really far. The moment you step out of your comfort zone and you start to engage with others, you start to help others, you start to connect with nature. This is it. This is the recipe. Yeah. Along the way, I had a chance to talk to many people. And because I dedicated years of my life to volunteer in different communities, to this day, I think it's over 400, but I don't have the number anymore. But I was just savvy. I was like, how does it work? How do we live together? What can we share together? How can we use the land to provide us the basic? Because I was living in a big city, you know. I had money in my pocket. I had access to everything and nothing. You know, when you feel like you're hungry, you go in a grocery store that is open 24/7.
Yeah.
You walk away with 2 bags full of grocery store, still living on your own. And you're like, why not buy this? Why not buy that? Because you have the money. And then you go home and like, yeah, but I still feel this kind of sensation that something is missing.
Wow.
And then I would compensate this sensation of something is missing with what we now call the excess of FOMO, the fear of missing out. Yeah. I was always binging. And I'm not afraid to say it publicly. I was binging on porn because porn was the top ecstasy. And I say it to break the freaking stigmas around that shit.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
I've been completely sober since 2008 because I was able to look at myself in the mirror and say, that need to stop. And because I couldn't find my solutions in my own country, I had to go out and be inspired by what others are doing. Wow. That's why I came back years later, fully transformed, with different techniques that I've learned directly from the masters. And I'm cautious when I say that because nowadays, and you know that, how many kids are, no offense, but I'm going to say it publicly anyway, kids are feeling hurt about something. They go meet the first dude, learn something, and instead of immersing themselves long enough, because it's a life process, to say, okay, what am I supposed to understand from that? What can I bring home? And aside from the business thing, how can it become a new way to live? They just print a freaking business card, create a website, and suddenly they're like a shaman, yoga teacher, expert. Good Lord, where's humility in this world?
Yes,
so for me, it's like I've learned from the top. Okay, I'm not afraid to say it, from the top, like the cream of the crop. But I made a commitment that I would not, I would respect their teaching, and I would do good use of it in a humble way. And that's why this digital detox movement never started from a business perspective. I heard about the startup ideology years and years later. And I'll be honest with you, Carl, it's this idea to fit in the box that got me into a breakdown that could have been a burnout.
Yes.
And that's why suddenly laughter yoga saved my life.
That's an amazing thing to be able to say. Laughter yoga saved my life. Now I want to backtrack a little bit because you're used to your story and your life and how it's been for you. But there was something really profound that you said, and that you know, I think is a sort of penny dropping moment possibly for other people, which is, hold on a minute, did he say he was addicted to the screen? You know, is that a thing where we can be addicted to our screens? And they're not only TV screens, computer screens, obviously now they are smartphone screens. We're never far from these things, and that whole thing, people I think can get a sense of that and see how connected they are in one way, but then we can begin to see possibly how addicted we are. And you talked about particularly with pornography and addiction, and you've described it as sobriety, as being sober of a habit which presumably you found difficult to manage, but you found the necessary willpower and strength and insight to do that. And I take my hat off to you for that. I think that's a rare and special and inspiring thing to do, and something other people can possibly relate to, whatever it is, you know, whatever type of content or whatever. The major point is that can they stop if they want to? And we don't really know that, do we? Because it is so much a part of our culture. We don't even get to ask the question as like, you know, well, I could stop if I wanted to, but no one looks like they're stopping anytime soon, because it's just normal to be carrying this thing around. And every time one stops in life, gets into the car, has a dull moment, standing in a queue. I became very present to this when I spoke to you on one of the two occasions when we spoke before. It's like, no, I don't have to get my bloody phone out every time I come to a stop, waiting for a coffee, or the car stops, or before I set off in the car, as another moment. And I began to mindfully be aware of like, this is what Eric's talking about. That little where you mentioned feeling the emptiness in the belly of like, I can buy what I want, but still I've got this little emptiness. Picking up the phone and a bit of a scroll feeds that a little bit, doesn't it? It doesn't feed it very well, but it feeds it enough to make you want to keep doing that every time you have a bloody dull moment, or what's called a dull moment. And it's not a dull moment at all, is it? We've framed it like that because we just want to get on this thing all the time.
And I'm very glad. Thanks for touching on it. And of course, it is a topic that we will explore not just in one session, but in many, because I think it demands more attention and understanding.
Yes.
Coming from me as the user, because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I had a chance to work with some of them. But coming from me, it's simply that this thing trigger a part of you that makes you weak and more demanding for it.
Yes.
And, you know, again and again, I'm not a specialist in a way that I don't have the official language, but I can just say this. When I was part of the Alcoholics Anonymous, I've done that for more than 12 years. Every time that I mention online addiction, people would say, dude, as long as you don't drink, you're fine. But I'm like, wait a minute. I understand that here we have a commitment is to be sober. We have the 12 steps, for those of you who are not familiar, that is about surrendering to a higher power. And so, but why is it that for me, who's struggling with an addiction, such as the screen one, it is not recognized? And, you know, that's why I had to go on this journey on my own. There was no way to find any answers. So today, I really feel the pain for parents who need to endure, example, that their kids are on their computer all day, the no life, as we describe them. Or in a couple when one of the partner is scrolling on Instagram all the time because, you know, feel like I need to do something with my life. I don't know why. Others are doing it. Anyway, it's very difficult. And the only reason why I can talk about it openly is because during my years of volunteering, Carl, I live in communities, but also live with smaller groups. And, you know, you go on volunteer programs, it's always this family. Oh, we're we're vegan, we're super fit, and we live by the ocean. Come and enjoy this time with us. You just have to look after the kids, do some gardening. Cool. I love doing that. That's the medicine. But what I noticed during my time, remember going from the guy who was addicted to slowly sobering up from 20 years of addiction. That's not just a couple of months.
Yeah.
I was like, but wait a minute. What about them? And I started to see this little thing, very intrusive, because from 2008 up to 2010, I had no technology on me. I was totally dry. Something people don't know about. My dad gave me a GPS for the bicycle, and that was it. And eventually, I was working in the circus before. So one of the producers said, "I have a gift for you," and he sent me over a laptop because I started a project along the way. And I had no technology whatsoever. I had to do an effort just to go to a coffee place to have internet. We're talking
great.
a long time ago, right? 2008,
Yes.
it's a long time ago. But again, I saw this phone who was becoming the new normal, sitting at a table with strangers. You're supposed to have a cultural experience, yet they are on their phone. And I started to realize how sneaky it was. And now this technology was slowly but surely replacing the quality of our human experience and interaction, so needed, by the way. So over the years, what I did was to spend times with neuroscientists, psychologists, quantum physicians, name them, all background, Buddhism, Catholic, to really understand what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
What are we facing at the moment? Because we're facing a human tragedy. And I went back to the starting point, living in Victoria. That was a couple of years after I was on the road, briefly working with the founder of Digital Detox in California. Unfortunately, Levi passed away because of a brain tumor cancer.
Oh dear.
And he left an incredible gift and a legacy that never found his way to become what it is today.
Yeah.
Meaning that at the beginning, it was super powerful.
Yeah.
And yet things fade away completely. And I was trying to put that on my shoulders, not working. That's why I got into this breakdown burnout.
Yeah.
Where I want to go with that is that, being in the core of where this technology started, Silicon Valley, I had a chance to speak with the people who were involved in the creation of this addiction by design. Mm-hmm. And I understood right from the get-go that, wait a minute here, you don't have to feel guilty. Nobody who's listening to us need to feel guilty. It was meant to be this way. It's done on purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. When we talk about attention economy, they want you hooked. They will do everything they can and more to keep you hooked.
Yeah.
So once you understand that, then you can slowly start to disinstall all the programs.
Absolutely. Yeah. On every level, that, the programs inside us, the programs on your phone. It's very interesting. And I'm hoping we're kind of running out of time here. I don't want to cut you short, but I know that we're going to keep talking. This is a monthly residency. I suspect you and I will be talking to each other more and doing things in real life.
I just want to say one thing to make sure we're clear. When I say disinstall, I'm talking about your hard drive or hard drive.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm not talking about the phone itself. It's changing the programs.
It works on every level, but I totally get you. And that to me is what's most fascinating, interesting, inspiring, is getting to see that. Because what people do for themselves, it's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. The important thing is the awareness and to have the conversation, isn't it? And for me, I'll own it. My experience of, and this is, I'm sure it's typical. It's like, well, I'm okay. I haven't got a problem with that. It's like those people over there have got a problem with that. Pity the poor people over there with that problem. And then you realize, actually, I do have that bloody problem. And I can do something about it if I want to. And then the journey begins, doesn't it? Of observing that in my mind of, so I am that guy who actually can't put his phone down or has to put in a big effort to do that. And think about how I might change the structure of my life. Like one example is Eurobic have this app on the phone and online. And my response to it not working persistently is like, screw it. I don't want the app anymore. I don't want online banking anymore. I'm going to walk to the cash machine, the multibanco, and I'm going to do things online because Portugal, fortunately, has a great system. So I can go for a walk and do my banking rather than worshipping the god of convenience, which, as you say, is actually a part of the device of the attention economy to transfer everything into a horrible digital world that it can overwhelm us. And it should be our slave. There's no question about it. And this is the mindfulness part, I think, is, am I using it or is it using me? And that is a conversation I hope you and I will continue to have and help people to address, right?
And to set the tone for the people that are listening to this conversation, it's important to mention that my want is not to come by saying, hey, guys, this technology is bad. Not at all, because I'm not against technology. I'm in favor of a better human presence and connection. And you won't find that anywhere online. Even if you have thousands of friends or followers on social media, guess what? You can still feel very lonely and live a life of misery.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. A few comments. One of them being, blimey, I thought you'd got Don Johnson on the program this morning. A bit of Miami Vice glamour. No, it's not Don. It's Eric here with us. But an easy mistake to make, obviously. Maybe those people were on their phones trying to make an appointment with maybe they were. Good luck to them. They needn't waste their time like that. I suspect it's a habit. It's an addiction. And, I'm not. So it's not for me to be judging other people. But I do think that we are facing a sort of epidemic of a screen and digital addiction, and not to be too heavy about it or judgmental, as Eric's saying. We have a chance in seeing that to do something about it if we want to, and then ask the other question, well, what's the alternative? What else might we be doing with our precious attention in this beautiful life we get to live? And banks don't seem to have tellers. That's also true, but I'm happy to go use the multibanco to do an IBAN transfer or whatever, walk out, get some fresh air, walk my dogs. For me, that's a good use of technology and a sweet spot. And I don't want people to have to sit in banks to earn money. I'd rather they were out walking their dogs as well. So freedom to the tellers as well this morning. Last word to you, Eric, as a sort of by way of an introduction to what's coming and how we're going to work together and help people with this if they want help with it.
Well, we started this conversation talking about the value of vitality vacation. Yep. And I will say this to people, instead of saying, oh my gosh, it is an addiction by design and I'm hooked to my screen. What about if we switch over to a wellness by design that is meant to empower us, have access to all of the salutogenic effect, and live a life that is far from being what we are experiencing at the moment. A life where you feel happy, content in all senses, and fully energized. Plus, bonus, get your time back to do what matters and not the opposite. So this is something we'll touch on later during this program, because I think people deserve to know. But everything starts with this idea to build a sense of community. And the screen is great because it helps us to get this conversation started. But like I always say, the secret to health and longevity is when you build healthy community. This goes along. It's not separated, and that's why I want to touch more into why the living paradox is hurting people more than people think. The living paradox of health and wellness in the digital age.
Wow, Eric, what is this heresy and revolution you speak of, whereby people might be on this planet to enjoy themselves, live beautiful lives, and help each other? What are you talking about? I look forward. I look forward to that journey with you, my friend. And you know what? If what that means is we are living one day in real life, in community, and we don't go on the internet first thing in the morning, do you know what? Strangely enough, I'm all for it. So in the meantime, this might be a means to that end. I hope it is. Fingers crossed for that. And we look forward to seeing you again next month, my friend.
We will, my friend.
Muito obrigado. Bom fim de semana. Ciao, ciao. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts.